And here's yet another method that we can use to create that pegboard. Very quick. I'm going to demonstrate another method. I've done this method for other things in the channel before. The idea here is the workflow is we're going to start with the hole. We're going to build everything out from the hole, and we're going to build that one unit square, and then we'll do the same process to duplicate the unit square to create the whole board. The purpose of this is I had mentioned the issue of smoothing. When we take that 8-sided polygon and we smooth it, we increase the number of polygons by a factor of 4, which for a large pegboard can be problematic. So if we create the hole such that it doesn't need to be smooth, we won't need to smooth the entire pegboard, and we can save some poly count that way. So what I'm going to do is I think 12 units is about the minimum number you can get away with and not see faceting unless you're very close to it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a polygon, and I'm going to do a, let's see, a polygon cylinder. And I'm going to set the number of sides on that cylinder to 12. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to delete everything but the cap. So I'm going to come in here and grab faces and get rid of everything but that cap. Now I'm going to take this cap and I'm going to center the pivot. So that's under, I think, modify center pivot. Modify. Or modify. I have everything on the shelf here, and I use hotkeys for everything, so I don't. I could have swore it was under modify. Edit. Well, it's in there somewhere. You can search for it. I'm going to use my shortcut, which is center pivot. I'm going to take the pivot. Now that it's centered, I'm going to snap it back down to the origin. So holding the X key down for grid snapping and then middle mouse dragging over there, it'll pop down to that point. Now that's the hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this object and I'm going to extrude it. And I'm going to center the pivot on that. I'm going to just pull it out like so. And it's all funky looking like that because it's trying to make it two-sided. If I pull this up, you can see what's happening here. Okay, so it's doing that, which is not what I want. So I'm going to actually do this another way. I'm going to get rid of all that. I'm going to just take this edge, and I'm going to extrude that edge and just pull it out this way. Okay. So remember that thing in the previous video, we want this to be, the hole to have sharp edge as it goes around the corner. So while I'm here, I might as well just take all these faces and extrude those. I'm going to click that button there, and that will go into a world mode for the origin of this, and then I'm going to push this down. And then I'm going to press the G key to repeat. Oh. Doesn't want to let me do that, so we're just going to grab it again and extrude another time and give it thickness, and then just delete that face. So we've now created a 12-sided hole, which we won't have to smooth, hopefully. Now the trick is we want to make it square. So what we're going to do is take these edges right here once again, and we're going to extrude them out again like that. And then I'm looking at this region right here of 4 by 4. Actually, is that 4 by 4? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 by 4. So what I'm going to do is take the vertices now, and I'm using that X key. I'm going to grid snap the vertices. Got to be careful when you're right on the manipulator there. Control X, do that. This one, do that. This one, do that. Oops, I got them off a little bit here. Let's take this one and put it here. Take this one and put it here. That's better. Take this one, put it So I'm going to pull it out of the way so I can then X-click over there. And then click here, and then click here, and then click here, here. Click here. Undo that. Let's click here. Okay, it's giving me trouble with that grid point, so we'll just get a different orientation, and boom, problem solved. And X-click there. So now we have a circle, and as it turns out, we're not going to smooth this, so I didn't actually need these 3 lines. So let's fix our mistake. We'll take that edge out, and that edge out, or that edge loop, and that edge loop, and we're just going to delete them. I didn't want to delete that edge, just the edge loop, this edge loop, and this edge loop, and delete them. Okay, same thing. Now we've got what will appear to be a hole, but will be a very sharp hole. So we do want to have something to catch the light as it goes around this edge, and for that what we'll do is we'll select this ring, or this edge loop, excuse me, and we will bevel it. Shift right mouse button, slide over to bevel edge, and we can do this several ways. I think all we're going to need is a flat bevel here, but you can actually go into the bevel node, and I can adjust this fraction, all right? And if you need to control that with a little better fidelity, if you hold the control key down, you can get a little better fidelity on it. And if I do that, now when I come out here and we look at it from a distance, we'll get some light reflecting as it comes around that edge. And then what I can also do is I can select these edges, this edge loop and this edge loop, and soften them. Actually, we can just take all of this and come up here, and I'm going to go to right, soften, harden, and we're going to soften all those edges. And now when you look at that from a distance, you get sort of you catch the light as it comes around that hole. Now you're still seeing faceting, but you're never going to get this close to a single hole in that pegboard. You're going to see that pegboard from like back here, right? So you'll never see those facets. And if you still feel uncomfortable with them, you can, instead of 12 edges, you can go to 16. So you just give yourself more edges. Now the hole in the unit square, as I look at it, is a little smaller. So I'm going to hit the R key to scale, and then holding the control key down, I'm going to grab just this middle manipulator, and that will scroll only, restrict my scaling to be only in the XZ plane. So I'm going to make the hole the size I want it. There we go. And then same process we did before. If I wanted to, the original square was a unit square, and you notice now we're a larger square. So I can take this whole thing now, and I can hit the R key, and I can scale it from the top. I can scale it in this plane so that it's a unit square again. So there we go. So now we're comparing apples and apples. Perspective. Right? And what I can do is delete the history and freeze the transforms on this. Make sure normals are facing the right way, and they are. And now I can come in here, and as we did before, I can duplicate this with Shift D, and I can slide it over. Now if I want them to line up edge to edge, a good way to do that is to change where the center of the object is. And I'm going to put it like I did before, holding the V key and then middle mouse clicking over that vertex. I'm going to move the origin of the object to that point, hit the insert key again, hit the shift key to duplicate, slide it over, hit the V key to snap it to that point, hit the shift D key again, make as many as I want, take all of these, shift D, move them up, snap them to this vertex right here, shift, make as many as I want, and now you see we've got a pegboard with rather big holes, but you saw how you could resize the hole. And now this doesn't need to be smoothed at all. You can see from this distance the holes appear to be round, and you'd never notice it in a scene. You're never going to get, until you don't start to see the faceting until you get like this close to the board, and even then you'd be hard pressed to see the faceting through all the other things that would be in a scene. So there you go, just another very quick tutorial on how to create this, starting with the hole and building outward from the hole.